You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In NYC, there are plenty of passerby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker, or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Are the officers idly awaiting in a patrol car ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone was watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner and looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey whom you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. He still looks kind of rough after your last brawl, but the damage to his face is clearly mended. His hands are out of his pockets, though. A sign of goodwill? That's close enough. Let me guess, this is not a social visit. Kaiser sent you. Don't say his name out loud, idiot. He takes a look around just to make sure nobody's listening in on your conversation. Yeah, he sent me. I'm supposed to give you this. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might be just a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Amaro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fidel servitor della Famiglia G. Those exact fucking words, and make sure you get the G, right? You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else, just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over." Didn't peg your boss for a letter kind of guy. Isn't electronic communication his whole shtick? Yeah, well, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. You about done with the letter? You note the phrases and address mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in that alley over there, so find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurants, patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night, but curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small, middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small table and chair, occupied by a man in a black faux leather jacket with slick combed back hair. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small, steaming cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening. How can I help you? Be direct. I would like a bottle of the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Amora, please. Let me check our stock. Seems to be looking through a database in a laptop sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment. Sorry. Recite the phrase straight and simple. I'm a fidel servitor della Famiglia G. Ah, in that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the doors in the back. The man by the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from the nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Remain silent and wait. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. Doors to the back of the store open and the proprietor emerges with a small unlabeled squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. "Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it." She offers you the bottle and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. You do know what this is, don't you? Well, this is a wine shop, so it's wine, surely. Well, of course, the best kind of wine. Enjoy. She winks at you. Deciding you've pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, then take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. It takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods? I sure do. Cool. Stand by. Gotta make the call. Takes a few more steps into a narrow space between two buildings to take out the same high-tech phone you saw him carrying last time. Hey, boss. Yeah, they have it. Where do I point them to? Okay, yeah. I'll tell them to go there right away. Puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Willet's Point. Half an hour, so you better step on it. See you around. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way back to the car and drive. You have to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willet's Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, nearby stadium notwithstanding. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in the ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted. Other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. You stay near your car and decide to wait. Kaiser must be on his way, or if he's not, and is instead playing one of his games, then you're not participating. If you got what he wants, let him come to you. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road some 10 minutes later catch your attention. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time, the car doors open, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time, Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So you pulled it off without a hitch, then. Give it here. You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and puts the cork back in. Yeah, that's the stuff. I could see your use will be on your charm with the subtlety of a battering ram. Good to know. Here's Langley's precious address. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah, I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out, now. He waves you out of the car with the envelope in hand. You get out, back onto the torn asphalt and decrepit surroundings. Limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. He's the man from Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk to him last you saw him. Ah, Koda, so glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for an answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts on his hand. Thomas Arturo. I've heard about you. Pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wished to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grating laugh. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie. Koda? Gricky boy. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards his host and you. The doors close. He's quite the character, isn't he? Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowliest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? Yes, I have it, but the data you offered was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before he would give me this card. She retrieves the envelope from you. I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. He made me go on an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I'd use code phrases and whatnot. Wine shop, code phrases? That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw in Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favors. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear charge. I will contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you outside, and you are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. Yeah, sadly with the time, I'm gonna have to call it here for tonight, but when we come back, debating on checking in with D'Angelo next time or trying to figure out who's following us. Well, we'll figure it out next time. Till then, hope you guys are enjoying this and the interesting stories of this. Now I'll see you in the next recording. Take care. Have a great day.